Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jayo Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Jayo Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Vraj Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanchari. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhans Parivajikaacharya Asto Tatsat Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Abhay Charnar Vind Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhans Parivajikaacharya Asto Tatsat Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Simha Guru Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. Anant Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण चंद्र गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जय। नवदीप मायापुर धाम की जय। जगन्नाथपुरी क्षेत्र की जय। गोकुल द्वारका धाम की जय। श्री श्री किशोर किशोरी की जय। श्री श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी की जय। श्री श्री गौर निताय की जय। समवेत भक्त वृंद की जय। All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Hare Krishna, thank you so much for being here today. We will be discussing new chapter today, chapter 55. Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, chapter 55, verse number 1st and 2nd. Please chant responsively. We will chant together text number 1 and text number 2. I will chant myself. Shri Shukha Vacha, Shri Shukha Vacha, Kamastu Vasudevamso, Dagdha Praga Rudra Manyano Yuna, Deho Papataye Bhuyas, Tam Eva Pratyapadyata. Shri Shukha Vacha, Kamastu Vasudevamso, Dagdha Praga Rudra Manyuna, Deho Papataye Bhuyas, Tam Eva Pratyapadyata. Shri Shukha Vacha, Kamastu Vasudevamso, Dagdha Praga Rudra Manyuna, Deho Papataye Bhuyas, Tam Eva Pratyapadyata. Shri Shukha Vacha, Kamastu Vasudevamso, Dagdha Praga Rudra Manyuna, Deho Papataye Bhuyas, Tam Eva Pratyapadyata. Word to word meaning. Shri Shukha Vacha. Sukdev Goswami said, Kamaha, Cupid, Tu, and Vasudeva, of Lord Vasudev, Amsaha, the expansion, Dagdaha, burned, Prak, previously, Rudra, of Lord Shiva, Manyuna, by the anger, Deha, a body, Upaktaye, in order to obtain, Bhuya, again, Tam, to him, Lord Vasudev, Eva, indeed, Pratyapadyat, came back. Translation and purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. Okay. Sukdev Goswami said, Kamadev, Cupid, an expansion of Vasudev, had previously been burned to ashes by Rudra's anger. Now to obtain a new body, he merged back into the body of Lord Vasudev. Purport. In his Krishna Sandarbha Anucheda 87, Srila Jiva Goswami cites the following verse of Gopal Tapani, Upanishad 2.40. This height is good. Translation. Sri Sukdev Goswami said, Kamdev, Cupid, an expansion of Vasudev, had previously been burned to ashes by Rudra's anger. Now to obtain a new body, he merged back into the body of Lord Vasudev. Purport. In his Krishna Sandarbha Anucheda 87, Srila Jeev Goswami cites the following verse of Gopal Tapani Upanishad 2.40 to prove that the Pradyumna who is the son of Krishna and Rukmini is the same Pradyumna who is the member of Lord Krishna's eternal fourfold plenary expansion, the Chaturvyu. Yatra sau samsitaha Krishnas tribihi saktya samahitaha Rama niruddha pradyumnai rukmina sahito vibhu. There is in Dwarka the Almighty Lord Krishna, endowed with his full potency, resided in the company of his three plenary expansions, Balram, Aniruddha, Pradyumna. In the Krishna Sandarbha, goes on to explain, with reference to the present verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, that the Cupid whom Rudra burned up with his anger is a demigod subordinate to Indra. The demigod Cupid is a partial manifestation of the prototype Cupid, Pradyumna, who is the plenary expansion of Vasudev. The demigod Cupid, being unable to attain a new body on his own, entered within the body of Pradyumna. Same body, two living entities are residing. The demigod Cupid, being unable to attain a new body on his own, entered within the body of Pradyumna. Otherwise, Cupid would have had to remain in a perpetual state of disembodiment, a result of Rudra's having incinerated him with his anger. In his English rendering of Srimad Bhagavatam 1.14.30 purport, Srila Prabhupada confirms the absolute status of Pradyumna, Lord Krishna's first son. Pradyumna and Aniruddha are also expansions of the personality of Godhead, and thus they are also Vishnu Tattva. At Dwarka, Lord Vasudev is engaged in his transcendental pastimes along with his plenary expansions, namely Sankarshana, Pradyumna and Aniruddha, and therefore each and every one of them can be addressed as the personality of Godhead. According to Srila Sridhar Swami, Pradyumna took birth from the womb of Rukmini before Krishna's marriage to Jambavati, and the Lord's other marriages took place Subsequently, Pradyumna returned from Sambara's palace. But before Sukdev Goswami tells of Krishna's pastimes with his other wives, he will narrate the entire story of Pradyumna for the sake of continuity. Srila Sridhar Swami further notes that Kamadev or Cupid, now appearing within Pradyumna, is a portion of Vasudev because he is manifest from the element of Chitta, consciousness, which is presided over by Vasudev, and also because he, Cupid, is the cause of material generation. As the Lord states in Bhagavad Gita 10.28, Prajnas chasmi Kandarpaha, of progenitors I am Kandarpa, Cupid. Sa eva jato vaidharbhyam Krishna virya samudbhava Pradyumna iti vikhyata sarvato annavamaha pitu. Translation of the second verse. He took birth in the womb of Vaidarbhi from the seed of Lord Krishna and received the name Pradyumna. In no respect was he inferior to his father. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Yananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Ulmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Padamayam ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश्वरा गोपिकान्ता राधाकान्ता नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुत देवी प्रणमामि हरे प्रिये वाञ्छा कल्पतरोभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभय एव च पतितनां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। So in this verse, we will first try to understand what text number 1 and text number 2 are conveying. It was little confusing for me at first when I was reading to understand whether Pradyumna, Cupid, is a Jeev Tattva or Vishnu Tattva. Because he says that Krishna is saying in the purport of the first verse, it's written that Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, of progenitors I am Kandarbha. Krishna says that in Bhagavad Gita, that I am the best of everything. Every splendor which we see is just in this material world is a spark of Krishna's splendor. So, Cupid is a Jeev Tattva. Is residing in the body of Pradyumna, who is an expansion of Krishna. So when the creation took place, Krishna's first expansion is Lord Balram. Balram expands into four portions: Aniruddha, Pradyumna, Vasudeva, and Sankarshana. And he also expands into Sadashiv. Sadashiv has a own planet, Mahesh Dham, which is between Golok Dham, spiritual world, and material world. Those who worship Lord Shiva go to that planet, and they are trained by Lord Shiva to transcend, elevate themselves to the spiritual world, Golok Vrindavan. Now when Balram expands into these four plenary portions, Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Aniruddha, Pradyumna, the Sankarshana form expands into Narayan, called Narayan. Narayan again expands into these four plenary portions: Sankarshana, Vasudeva, Aniruddha, Pradyumna. This Sankarshana is Mahavishnu, Karano Dakshai Vishnu. Karan means cause. Karano Dakshai Vishnu, he is the cause of this material world. Karano Dakshai Vishnu lays himself the bed of an ocean, and from his body pores bubbles comes out, and each bubble is a universe. Each bubble is filled half with water. Half of the bubble is filled with water, so half of the universe we are living in is filled with water. In that half bubble, Karano Dakshai Vishnu enters as Garbho Udakshai Vishnu. Garb means belly. He's Garbho Dakshai Vishnu. Why is called Garbho Dakshai Vishnu? Because when he lays in the water there, from his Garb, navel, comes a lotus plant. And that lotus plant stem has all the plenary systems. And from the lotus plant is the birth of Brahma. Brahma takes place. In that lotus stem, Garbho Dakshai Vishnu enters as Kshiro Dakshai Vishnu, and he is present in every. He enters into matter. He enters into matter as Kshiro Dakshai Vishnu. The same Kshiro Dakshai Vishnu who gives knowledge in the heart to Lord Brahma. Then Lord Brahma does the creation. All the living entities are born in this lotus stem. He's the architect of this universe. And he designs all the living entities in the universe. And in these living entities, Krishna, Kshirodaksha Vishnu enters as Paramatma in their hearts, in their body. Going back to Balram, Krishna's expansion as Balram, Balram has one more expansion as Sadashiv, which I said, who has his own planet called Mahesh Dham, which is between spiritual world and material world. Now, the Mahavishnu, how does the living entities come in the stem in which all the universes are? In every universe, how does he come? Mahavishnu has an external function, special function, in which he glances over material nature as Shambhu, also an expansion of Sadashiva, which impregnates the material nature with living entities. And that's how all the living entities come in this material world. And one expansion of Shambhu is Rudra, which comes from the forehead between brows of Lord Brahma in every universe. So this Rudra got angry at Cupid, and he, from his anger coming out from his forehead, he burned Cupid into ashes. How Cupid was burned into ashes, there is a story behind it. Lord Shiva had wife is material nature. His first wife was Sati. Sati was the expansion of material nature. She left her body when her father, Daksha, was insulting Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva went into meditation. And at that time, there was this demon, Tarkasura, who was causing havoc in heavenly planets. He took a benediction from Lord Brahma that nobody will be equal to him, and only the son of Lord Shiva could actually kill him. It was a very crafty benediction to ask from Lord Brahma, because he knew that Lord Shiva is in meditation. He will not have any progeny. So Indra went to Lord Brahma that Tarkasura is causing havoc in heavenly planets, and you give us solution. You ask Lord Shiva to give us his son. He said, I cannot do anything because Lord Shiva is in meditation. Since Sati left her body, she actually burned herself. So there is no way he would be able to have a progeny. But material nature came as Parvati, the daughter of Himalayas. Parvat means mountains. So her name, and she even before officially getting married, she always assumed Lord Shiva to be her master. She was ready, but Lord Shiva was in meditation. So Indra gave directions to Cupid that you captivate everybody in this world by lusty desires. You throw your arrow in Lord Shiva's mind, the arrow of affection towards Parvati. So Lord Shiva started, in his meditation, got disturbed, and he wondered, how can this happen to me? He understood that Cupid, Pradyumna, was the cause. He got so angry that he burned Cupid. And then he blessed that the Cupid will come as a son of Krishna. So that's how Pradyumna came. That which is mentioned here. So, yes. But Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, 6th chapter, 25th verse, talks more about Rudra. And says the false ego of materialistic identity is controlled by demigod Rudra, an incarnation of Lord Shiva. Rudra is the incarnation of the Supreme Lord who controls the mode of ignorance within material nature. The activities of the false ego are based on the objective of body and mind. Most persons conducted by false ego are controlled by Lord Shiva. When one reaches a finer version of ignorance, he falsely thinks of himself as the Supreme Lord. That egoistic conviction of the conditioned soul is the last snare of illusory energy which controls the entire material world. So Lord Shiva is the in charge of mode of ignorance. The creation, Lord Brahma is in charge of mode of passion. He creates mode of passion. Lord Vishnu, Supreme Lord Vishnu, is in charge of mode of goodness, who maintains everything. And Lord Shiva is in charge of mode of ignorance. They say demigods are in mode of goodness. Asuras are in mode of passion. And Rakshasas are in mode of ignorance. There's always perpetual fight between Devtas, demigods, Asuras and Rakshasas. What happens later on, that Parvati meditates and goes under a lot of penance so that she can get Lord Shiva as her husband. Lord Shiva agrees, and later they have a son, Kartikeya, who will be the commander-in-chief of the demigods when they are fighting Asuras and Rakshasas. At that time, the commander of Rakshasas, Asuras, were Kalanemi. He was very strong. And Tarkasura, who was killed by the son of Rudra and Parvati, Kartikeya, took benediction from Lord Brahma, but he was also the worshipper of Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva was also on his side. So when this fight was taking place, Krishna and Kartikeya were not able to defeat Kalanemi, the commander of the demons. Krishna says that they defeat Kalanemi, they couldn't defeat Tarkasura. So Krishna says, unless Tarkasura attacks Lord Shiva, Kartikeya will not kill him. So Krishna manipulates the situation in such a way that he ends up attacking Rudra. Then Kartikeya kills Tarkasura. So this is the story. Just wants to give you the background. Why Rudra burned Cupid to ashes? What happened? It's in Skand Puran. Skand is Kartikeya. Skand Puran has this story. So, another purport, Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, 12th chapter, 11th verse. The creation of Rudra from between the eyebrows of Brahma as a result of his anger generated from the mode of passion, partly touched by ignorance, is very significant. See, this material world, they say there are 3 modes: ignorance, passion, and goodness. But even the goodness in material world has a tinge of passion and ignorance present there. But Lord Vishnu, who is in charge of mode of goodness, Sattva Gun, he is in Shuddh Sattva. There is not even a tinge of material ignorance, mode of ignorance and mode of passion. They say actually Lord Brahma and Shiva, they are in charge of the mode of passion and ignorance respectively, but they are mostly in mode of goodness. But that tinge is present. They say that Bhrigu Muni wanted to understand of the primeval deities of the universe, Brahma, Shiva and Vishnu, who is the supreme. So he went to Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma is the father of Bhrigu Muni. He did not pay respects to him. So Lord Brahma got angry, went to kill him. What's angry at him? Charging towards him. And then he remembered, he's my son. He's my son. Bhrigu Muni is my son. I won't cause him any harm. It's parental love came. So he thought that he is influenced by anger. Bhrigu Muni thought Lord Brahma is influenced by anger. He cannot be the supreme primeval deity of this material world, this universe. Said, okay, I will go to Lord Shiva. And he went to Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva, they say he gets pleased very easily, but he gets into anger very fast also. So Lord Shiva is actually the brother of Bhrigu Muni, because he also came from the forehead. No, he came from the forehead of Lord Shiva. Rudra came from the forehead of Brahma, and Bhrigu Muni was also the son of Brahma. So they are brothers. He came, Lord Shiva got excited, okay, my brother has come to meet me. So he goes on to hug him, embrace him. And he said, no. Bhrigu Muni said, do not touch me. You don't take bath, you are full of ashes. You have skulls, it's kind of, no, you stay away from me. So Lord Shiva also got angry and charged towards him to attack him. And Parvati pacified him. No, he's your brother, don't do it. So he doesn't do that. So with Brahma, it was subtle. It was only mental offense of not paying respect. He got angry. With Lord Shiva, it was verbal offense. He got angry. With Vishnu, he goes, okay, I will go to test Lord Vishnu. Goes into Vaikuntha. Goes there and sees Vishnu lying and being served by Lakshmi Devi. Goes and stomps on the chest of Vishnu. Vishnu doesn't get angry. Vishnu says, oh, you have come here. It is such a fortune that such a pious sage has come. Please forgive me. Any mistakes I am not being able to attend to you properly. And he says, okay, now I've understood. Lord Vishnu is free from anger. He must be in charge of the primeval deity of the three principal deities of this material world. Prabhupada says that even when Lord displays anger or lust, it is on the absolute platform, and he says in the purport, it's an absolute benediction for humanity. When he displays anger, Narsingadev, he's showing affection for his devotee Prahlada, that to protect Prahlad, who is his devotee, 5-year-old boy, he's our leader, Mahajan. To protect him, I will take the form of lion and kill all the people who will come who will be causing harm to his devotee, Prahlad. When Krishna displays seemingly lust, Prabhupada is saying that in Rasalila, he's inviting all the living entities of this material world, see what are you missing in this material world. Come back to my home, our home, spiritual world. So this seemingly display of lust is actually to invite all the living entities to come back to spiritual world. So, continuing the Bhagavatam purport, in Bhagavad Gita 3.37, the principle of Rudra is described. Krodha, anger, is the product of Kama, lust, which is the result of mode of passion. That's what happened to Rudra. He got he got disturbed in his meditation, lusty desires, he got angry and burnt Cupid to ashes. Says in Bhagavad Gita, same thing. Principle of Rudra is described here. Krodha, anger, is the product of Kama. Lust is not satisfied, then anger arises, which is the result of mode of passion. So, when lust and hankering are unsatisfied, the element of Krodha, anger, appears, which is formidable enemy of conditioned souls. The most sinful and inimical passion is represented as ahankara, false ego, or the false egocentric attitude of thinking oneself to be all in all. Such an egocentric attitude on the part of the conditioned soul, who is completely under the control of material nature, is described in Bhagavad Gita as foolish, mudha. The egocentric attitude is a manifestation of Rudra principle in the heart, wherein Krodha, anger, is generated. The anger comes from lust not being satisfied, frustration. The anger develops in the heart and is further manifested through senses like eyes, hands and legs. They say, it goes on in the purport and saying, if there is a storm, that is a depiction of the principle of Rudra. Somebody getting very angry, eyes are getting red, face, the body temperature is increasing. This is the principle of Rudra, anger manifestation. So, Lord Shiva displayed anger, so he is not also free from Kama. Just a tinge of Kama. He's actually, Shiv Tattva is actually not Jiva Tattva, not Vishnu Tattva, but it just goes on to say that that is not the supreme. So who should we take shelter of to protect us from Kama, control our lust? So in Srimad Bhagavatam, 2nd canto, 7th chapter, 7th verse, Lord Brahma is saying, great stalwarts like Lord Shiva can by their wrathful glances overcome lust. So Lord Shiva did not give in to lust. He got disturbed, he burnt Cupid to ashes. So he says, great stalwarts like Lord Shiva can by their wrathful glances overcome lust and vanquish him is Cupid. Yet they cannot be free from overwhelming effects of their own wrath. Such wrath can never enter into the heart of him, the Lord Vishnu. Such wrath can never enter into Lord Vishnu's heart, who is above all this. So, who can lust take shelter of? Who can lust take shelter of? There is no chance of lust taking shelter in the mind of Lord Vishnu. That's what Lord Brahma is saying. So there are 3 songs by Bhakti Vinod Thakur that mentions about materialistic life, also mentions how to overcome lust. Not praying to Brahma and Lord Shiva, he's praying to Krishna, Gopinath. He's the Lord of the Gopis. As we discussed before, when devotees refer to Krishna as by some name, that's somehow related to their mood and how they want to relate to Krishna. It says Gopinath, the Lord of the Gopis, that means you also become my Nath. You also become my master in a similar way. The first song is Gopinath Mama Nivedan Suno. So, the first paragraph it says, Vishayi Durjana Sada Kamerata Kichu Nahi Mora Guna. O Lord Gopinath, Lord of the Gopis, please hear my prayer. I am a materialistic and a sinful person, and I am always engaged in lusty activities. For this reason, I have no good qualification. We have no good qualification to approach Lord Vishnu. Prabhupada says, your disqualification is your qualification. By our own, we cannot approach Lord Vishnu. Can we only be attracted when we ask for his mercy? But that it seems perplexing to Bhakti Vinod Thakur in the end of the song. He says, I have no good qualification. But in the end of the song, he says, name of Lord is also called Patit Pavan, the deliverer of fallen souls. So it perplexes Bhakti Vinod Thakur. What I have done so wrong that I am not liberated if all the fallen souls are liberated? He says, Gopinath ami ke doshi doshi, asura sakala pahilu charana vinoda thakila basi. O Gopinath, what faults am I guilty of? All the demons have attained your lotus feet, but Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur remains sitting here. What is my fault? Why? If you have delivered all the demons, why I am not being delivered? It's perplexing. It's raising a very good question. Being resentful against Krishna, being envious against Krishna keeps us in this material world. And that resentment manifests into... That is lust. That is actually lust. And in coming song, another Gopinath song, we will see how that lust expands in this material world. The second Gopinath song is Gopinath Guchhao Samsara Jwala. Please extinguish the fire of material existence. Third stanza of this song says, Gopinath kabe va jagibo ami kama rupa ari dure teya gibo hridayesh puribe tumi. O Gopinath, when will I wake up and remove my enemy in the form of lust from my heart? Then only will you manifest within my heart. Says lust is sin. Sin, what is sin? Sin is for being forgetful of Krishna. We do anything being forgetful of Krishna, that comes in the category of sin. Either subtle or gross, that's different. Says Gopinath, when will I wake up and remove my enemy? My true enemy. Nobody else is my enemy. My true enemy is lust from my heart. Then only will you manifest within my heart. And the third Gopinath song that I was saying, how lust expands, is called Gopinath Amar Upay Nahi. O Gopinath, I have no other alternative. It's not that Krishna can save us, Krishna cannot save me. That's all right. Maybe my job can save me more. Maybe my friend can save me. My brother can save me, sister can save me, children can save me. Say no. Gopinath Amar Upay Nahi. Lord Gopinath, I have no other alternative. Says in the second stanza, Gopinath padechi mayara fere, dhana dara suta, giriche amar, kamete rekeche jere. O Gopinath, I have fallen in the whirlpool of Maya, the illusory energy. Wealth, wife and children have surrounded me, and lusty desires have kept me under their control. These lusty desires have kept me under their control. We have so many entanglements in this material world. The story Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that person goes to a sage that, sage, please help me to get out of so many of this material entanglements. I have so many material arrangements and it just seems difficult to me that there would be some way I can come out and practice devotional service. The sage says, okay, I will give you an answer. You come next day in the night. The person comes to the sage and hoping that the sage would give him an answer. The sage has embraced the tree. Has embraced the tree very tightly. And he says, O sage, I have come to get the answer from you. That how can I get out of these so many material entanglements I have. There's so many reasons I have not to practice devotional service. Then the sage starts saying, can you please help me get out of this entanglement from the tree? The person, inquirer, couldn't understand what the sage is trying to ask him. He has embraced the tree so tightly. How can I liberate him? He says, and then sage says, please help me. I am entangled by this tree. And then he says, oh sage, it is very easy for you to get out of this entanglement. Just stop embracing it. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur says in the same, the sage says, similarly, you are not bound by your material entanglements, material situations, circumstances. You are attached to them. It's very easy to leave it. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, I am bound by wealth, by children, so many things, by my lusty desires. So to come out of these entanglements, lusty desires, simply to take shelter of Gopinath, Krishna. So Lord of the Gopis, Nath of the Gopis, you also become my Nath, my master. So this is all I could prepare for the class today. Anything that you would like to talk about, help contribute to the discussion, we appreciate it. Prabhu, the mic is...
Hello.
Yep.
Very nice lecture. And also last time as well. I'm always wondering about the word lust because I always had an idea that it was just, what couples and stuff out there do and how people look at each other in such a lusty way or something like that. But you're obviously saying that it expands into much more. But selfishness, that would be lusty, wouldn't it? I think. I mean, let's say I'm like a selfish guy. That'd be part of lust or something like that.
Yeah. See, that is root. That is real lust. Forgetful of Krishna. See Krishna enjoying being the master. This material, Krishna is the master of everyone. Seeing this, sometimes marginal potency, Jeev Tattvas, some of them, not all of them, there are only some offenders. Some of them become envious and say, why can I not enjoy in this way? They come in this material world. That thought is the lust, beginning of lust. And then we get this material body. This material body is a diseased body. It's given to us to facilitate that desire of being forgetful of Krishna and enjoying this world. This is a diseased condition. So then that lust expands into being physically, and that is just an expansion, and this body is facilitating that. But actually being forgetful of Krishna and not accepting Krishna as the master, that is real lust.
Also, you're saying envious. I noticed you used the word last time too, in the lecture. I was trying to say, I was going to expand on all that. I don't know much about that. I guess I know, like everybody else, what it means. You want to be like somebody or something like that, like your favorite.
What is enviousness? So,
right. No, I know what it means is kind of like that. Is my idea is like, I want to be like this guy. He's got a nice big house or a car or a beautiful wife. I want to be like that. That would be like envious. But I was studying a little bit of psychology, and it says something about it is the root core of narcissism. And they're saying like most of society is just narcissist people, and not just envious, but obviously right after that comes jealous. We see it a lot in the Indian community. I'm just saying, and then it stems from, I'm guessing, to every other bad anarthas, right? Including what you were saying here about selfishness, but a lust. And that must mean, if you're I don't know the other expansions of lust, because like I said, I thought it was just how men and women look at each other or something like that. But these must be all like you're saying, these defects, right? But and then the whole embracing of the tree, being stuck in a web. I guess that would be correct, as you say. You're embracing it. If you're not embracing it, then it's like gone. But let's say you have to pay, this and that, and you need to work 2 jobs or whatever, or else I have to reduce myself from this to something smaller or somewhere else where it's really uncomfortable. Like all these attachments, a job, and maybe it's your car or whatever it is. You need your car out here, or something, or your house or whatever it is, because it's an attachment. And even though we embrace these things, how can you really let go of the major stuff, like the heavy duty stuff,
Yeah. So it's a good question. Okay, I will answer in part. So, Prabhupada, one lecture I was listening, Prabhupada says that difference between material world and spiritual world is that if we are jealous of anyone, that means we are in material world, material realm. There is no jealousy in spiritual world. Being jealous of Krishna, being the enjoyer, got us in the material world. Now, yes, we need our car, apartment, homes, 2 jobs sometimes. Rupa Goswami explains, no material circumstance can hinder our devotional service. Whatever situation we are in, ultimately Krishna's blessings are there. We can practice devotional service in that situation. No material circumstances can stop our devotional service. So these 2 thoughts came into my mind. Yeah.
I noticed that it's just everywhere. I mean, that must be what the psychologist was saying. It's like these narcissists that are all over in society. They're not even getting checked in. So how can you even know? But sure enough, they are, jealous, envious, and you're talking about false ego. Oh, I was going to say something about false ego. Someone once asked me to play tablas on divan, and I said, nah, I can't play that good, in front of a restaurant crowd. And he's a devotee, and he said, that's because you have false ego. And I understand that, but can you elaborate a little more on the false ego thing, like, and a couple of all the egos, like
false ego.
That's all I know. It must be crazy stuff.
Yeah, actually, that's what we were discussing today about false ego. Let me try to quote you the exact. Prabhupada writes in 3rd Canto's 12th chapter, 11th verse purport. The most sinful and inimical passion is represented as ahankara, or the false egocentric attitude of thinking oneself to be all in all. Such egocentric attitude on the part of the conditioned soul who is completely under the control of material nature is described in Bhagavad Gita as foolish. The egocentric attitude is a manifestation of Rudra principle in the heart, wherein Krodha, anger, is generated. The anger develops in the heart and is further manifested through various senses like eyes, hands, and legs. The false ego, this is also, yes. And the 25th verse, 3rd canto, 6th chapter, says the false ego of materialistic identity is controlled by the demigod Rudra, an incarnation of Shiva. See, this false ego, there is a real ego. Ego, who am I? Real ego is, I am servant of Krishna, I am part and parcel of Krishna, I am meant for Krishna's service. False ego is, I am a citizen of this city, I am a neighbor of this person. this is how I'm related to my relatives, this is how I'm related to my employer, this is how I'm related to my friends. And all these identities that we take, that comes with different obligations. If I am this to this person, this is how I'm supposed to act. This is how my obligations are. Not to say that we should not act that way, not to say we should not act in all the social structure of the society, but our real ego is being the servant of Krishna. The social structure of society are all meant to facilitate, to nurture, to nourish our real ego. The ideal social structure of society is meant to nurture our real ego of being the servant of Krishna and serving Krishna. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Varnashrama, the 4 grades of society. Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, and Brahmanas. So they are doing their own duties. This is what they are supposed to do. This is how they have to act in the structure of the society. But all of this is to gradually elevate their Krishna consciousness. So this is real ego is being servant of Krishna. False ego is doing anything which will not help us facilitate Krishna consciousness. Okay, we'll end the discussion. Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.